What's going on, guys? On Friday, we have Morbius dropping. So today's video is going to be me ranking all my favorite non-MCU Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man movies. So let's get to it. Starting off my rankings at number 7, we have The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's kind of a toss-up whether to put this or Spider-Man 3 at number 7, but I just remember almost being disappointed when I saw the movie in theaters for almost the entire movie. There are really beautiful scenes in this movie. For example, is the Gwen Stacy's death when he shoots his web and it kind of like stretches out as a hand and to save her. I thought that was really cool and very unique. But Jamie Foxx's Electro, Jamie Foxx is cool, but his Electro sucked. And I think that was just poor writing. I feel the same way about Dane DeHaan's Green Goblin. I didn't mind him as Harry Osborn, but his Green Goblin was awful. But he also didn't get much screen time as Green Goblin. So I can respect the idea and the path that they were trying to go with this movie in setting up a larger Spider-Man universe. It was just poorly executed. And you can kind of tell from the beginning of the movie how crammed everything was going to be, even though the movie's still almost 2.5 hours, I think. So that's why The Amazing Spider-Man 2 comes in at number 7. Coming in at number 6, we have Spider-Man 3. So this movie's tricky because there are times where I watch it and I'm like, this movie I do not like. And there are other times I watch it where I'm like, I like a little bit of it. And then there's other times where I watch it where I'm like, I could deal with it. And everybody knows what we're talking about. It's very back and forth, but every time I watch it, I do like the first half of the movie. I think all the stuff with the drama between Harry and Harry being the new Goblin and kind of getting Sandman's origin and everything like that, I thought that was really cool. And then it's more so once that he accepts the symbiote suit is when the movie kind of takes a turn. And it's not for long, but it's still enough to completely tear down what could have been a really great thing. And I do like the final battle. I don't like that Harry dies, but I do like the final battle. I didn't really like Topher Grace as Venom. He wasn't menacing, and it was hard to believe him. And half the time, they just took the scary Venom mask off his face. So it's just like, okay, you have a non-menacing guy with a menacing alter ego, essentially. But the most scariest part about his alter ego, you take it off almost the entire time that he's that character. So again, like with The Amazing Spider-Man 2, they tried to just cram too much stuff in there. And I mean, I know the history with the directors and the studio and things like that, so I know all that. I'm not going to get into it, but I like the first third of Spider-Man 3. I don't like the second third, and I like the last third of Spider-Man 3, so that's why I put this at number 6. Coming in at number 5, we have Venom Let There Be Carnage. This was the second movie in the Venom franchise. And it's watchable. It's fine. I think Woody Harrelson does a really good job as Carnage, but it's just like, if you're going to make a Carnage movie, I want to see rated R Carnage. I want to see blood. I want to see cussing. I want to see all the terrible, terrible things that Carnage does. I want to see it. And they do go into the psyche a little bit with him. But I wish they could have extended it more. So I mean, I guess you have to kind of be careful with what you put in movies nowadays, which kind of sucks. But I don't know. It is what it is. But also, just the movie as a whole didn't really capture me as much as the first one, which I was pretty surprised about because I was kind of hyped for this movie when it was not only when it was announced, but when it came out. I do like Tom Hardy as Venom and the relationship that he has, that Eddie Brock has with Venom. I think they have really funny moments and everything like that. And it was a different twist that I expected to get from Venom. I'm not too familiar with Venom in the comics. I only really know him from the cartoons and stuff like that. And every time he's always just like, oh, I hate this guy. Let's go kill him. So I liked what they did with the character. It just, I don't know. It wasn't what I was expecting. And I was really hoping because of the success of Logan and Deadpool and things like that they would have gone rated R with it, and they didn't, and I think it really hindered the performance of the movie. So that's why Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, comes in at number 5. Coming in at number 4, we have Venom 1. So like I said before, I like the relationship that they have with Eddie and Venom. And then I like how they get used to each other and things like that. And I feel like Tom Hardy does a really good job, as if somebody's like actually inside him, forcing him to do other things. Like I honestly feel like he did a really good acting job with this in this movie, and the second one as well. But it's kind of like a Fast and Furious movie. You don't go there to watch a good movie. You go there to have fun, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you can do both at the same time, that's what makes a movie great. So that's my opinion on it. I honestly I liked Riot, the antagonist in it. Riot, I honestly, part of me thinks he was more frightening than Carnage at times. So I feel like the movie was just, they spent more time on it and made sure it was really well put together, and that's why this one comes ahead of Venom: Let There Be Carnage. Coming in at number 3, a lot of people might be surprised about this, but I'm gonna put Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is a really good sequel, but I honestly don't think it's better than the first, where a lot of people do. I'll go into that later. The biggest thing for me as to why it's number 3 is because, as good as it is, there is a lot of stuff that doesn't hold up, and I mean, it sucks. You probably shouldn't let time affect certain movies, and there are some movies where I don't, but there's something about it, mainly with the effects. It was good for the time, but like for me, it's just like the effects were good in 2004, but I feel like in 2014 they weren't that good. Whereas in a movie like Man of Steel, a movie that same time frame, it's almost 10 years old, the effects on it still hold up. Or there's a lot of movies. I think Avatar's effects still hold up, and that movie came out in 2008. So when a movie's effects don't hold up as much as some other ones, it takes a toll on me personally. So there's also some like jokes and stuff in there that I personally feel like don't hold up. Like there is some stupidity within the movie, and without it there, it actually could have made it better. But at the same time, a lot of people like stupid jokes, where I personally don't, which is why I get kind of irritated with a lot of Marvel movies, as much as I love them. But my main thing for Spider-Man 2 being at number 3 is the effects and jokes that don't hold up. So other than that, it's a great movie, it's a great sequel, and I mean I'll rewatch it on any given day as well. Doc Ock was a really cool villain. I liked him a lot. So the train fight scene is honestly probably one of the best comic book fights ever, and it's still, that part of the movie still holds up. It's a good movie, but it just, some stuff about it doesn't take me back to the time when I was a kid and saw it, and it kind of takes me out of the movie, and when that happens, that obviously that sucks. So that's why Spider-Man 2 comes in at number 3. Coming in at number 2, we have The Amazing Spider-Man 1. A lot of people are going to be surprised about this as well, because the Amazing Spider-Man movies get a lot of hate, even the first one. And I think the first one is honestly a really good movie. Yeah, I get it's weird that a guy wants to grow his arm back, so he puts lizard DNA in him, and then he becomes a lizard, and he wants everybody else to become a lizard. I get it's weird, but I mean, it's like, I don't know, in the cartoons and in the comics, that's the character. He wants to grow his arm back, so he does, or he tries to, and he becomes a lizard. Like, I don't know what else people expect from that. So that's why I don't really care too much about that. And I do like that final fight scene, so I feel like it kind of makes up for it. I like almost every single fight scene in this movie. I like the one on the bridge. I like the one in the library. I like the end battle. And they even have like a small little thing when Peter's doing some research to find out like what's down in the sewers. And even that scene I like. So, and when it comes to Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, he's my favorite one. I grew up on Tobey, and Andrew Garfield still to this day is my favorite Spider-Man and Peter Parker. A lot of people didn't like how he was a skater boy or whatever, and they didn't like this or they didn't like that, but like he was still kind of a loner. He was still secluded. Then he was still into photography, so he was still all like the core Peter Parker things. They just made it modern. So I didn't mind that at all. It was fine. I loved it is the scene where he's training for the first time, I guess you could say, and he's like swinging on the chains that are there and riding a skateboard around. And I like the song. I like the vibe, and that's, like I said, that's honestly, it's my favorite scene. So I feel like with The Amazing Spider-Man, they really nailed his quips. Like, it wasn't too over the top. Like, it was almost kind of perfect, and it was like, I felt like he was a lot like the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, and that cartoon is not only good, but it is funny. So I have a really good time with him. I like how they kept his quips throughout all three movies he was in: Amazing Spider-Man 1, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man No Way Home. Like, they kept his character true to what it was, and I like that a lot. Toby had his quips here and there, but like they weren't funny. It was just like, oh, okay, like kind of anybody could come up with that on the spot. Whereas in The Amazing Spider-Man, it's like it's quick quips that are like almost genius comedy at times. Some people might think they're stupid, but he's like a PG Deadpool, and I think it's really funny, and that's honestly what I like the most about Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man and why he's my favorite. And also, I'm a sucker for an origin story, as long as it's well put together. So that's why Amazing Spider-Man 1 comes in at number 2. Coming in at number 1 for my favorite non-MCU Spider-Man related movies is Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire. This was a movie where for a very long time I actually liked Spider-Man 2 better than Spider-Man 1. And it wasn't until I had my recent rewatch of all of them before Spider-Man No Way Home that I honestly really, really liked Spider-Man 1. It's a great origin story. Everybody, the whole entire cast does a really good job. I like how it shows the transition from like teenage to adult. Like, there is a little time jump in the movie. They don't make it obvious, but they also do at the same time. And I mean, everybody loves Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. He does a great job, and he just looks like a goblin anyways. So that worked out. But I don't know, just like when I watched it, I just remember saying to myself, like, damn, what a movie. Like, it was, not only was it a good origin movie, not only was it a good superhero movie, it was just a good movie in general. And that makes movies great, like I said earlier. So that is why Spider-Man 1 is, as of right now, a top favorite non-MCU Spider-Man movie. One day, maybe eventually, I'll do every single one of them. Just because Morbius is coming out on Friday, I decided to do the non-MCU Spider-Man movies. So that is it for me for today. I will be seeing Morbius. I'll post a little quick reaction after the movie. And on Friday, most likely, I'll do a full review on it if I feel like it. So odds are I will. But if not, it'll come out over the weekend for sure. So that's it for me. See you guys in the next video.